Well, last Friday saw the women's bracket of March Madness finish up. Tonight we will see the men's side finish up as the number one from the West will take on the number one from the South, Gonzaga versus Baylor. Joining me today to break this down is Eric Bay. Eric, thank you for taking this time.
Yeah, two big teams and very evenly matched teams going for the championship. Exactly what you want to see to end March Madness.
For sure, and two number one seeds, Eric, we don't really see this that often. And Eric, we almost didn't see it at all on Saturday. Overtime, Gonzaga just was able to pull out the buzzer beater win versus UCLA, taking that one just by 3 points, 93-90. And Eric, I think those last couple seconds of that game is really what describes March Madness the best. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, those last few seconds, you could even say that about the entire game. There were some major swings where Gonzaga was up, then UCLA was coming back, and they were up, and it was really back and forth, and exactly what you want from a Final Four game between a number 1 and a number 11 seed, something you don't really expect to see, but was an amazing game and a crazy score, 93-90, just encapsulated by that amazing finish.
Now, Eric, when you talk about championship teams, in whatever sport it may be, a lot of time you talk about going through adversity. This Gonzaga team has not gone through adversity at all this year. 0 losses on the season. This last game, that 3-point win, was their closest. Before that, they had won by 5 on December 2nd. Versus Baylor, they did take 2 losses throughout this season, and they have played some more challenging games, playing more ranked teams. Their 2 losses coming against the number 12 Kansas and the number 5 Oklahoma State. What do you think about adversity going into this finals, and do you think it'll play a factor in this game?
I think there'll be a factor for sure. Obviously, who can rise above that adversity will always be important. But I think that Gonzaga, while maybe not seeing as much of it throughout the season, they really proved here in this semifinal matchup against UCLA that they could handle adversity. I mean, this was a team that they were 14-point overdogs against. They were not supposed to be in tight against UCLA. This game should have never seen overtime if you look at what many experts kind of picked, and they were close all the way throughout. So I think that just going through that game and coming to this, I think the one thing that we'll have to see if Gonzaga can move through is if there's any sort of letdown, after a big win like that, and then moving into a championship game. But as for adversity, I think both teams, especially in a COVID year, have really gone through it in their own way. And so that won't be a huge thing in my mind that one has really seen more than the other.
And Eric, talking adversity in their own way, even within games having to battle back, even if it is just a couple point deficit. I can think back earlier in this March Madness tournament when they played Oklahoma. It was a very back and forth game. So they did have to battle adversity, just a little different than what Baylor had to per se. And like you said, it'll be huge to see if they can ride this momentum into this championship game. If they do come out flat, Baylor is a hard team to come back against. They are the top defense, arguably in the nation, but for sure out of these two teams, they are the better defense. But saying that Gonzaga is the better offense, both of them are just by slim margins there. But Eric, offense versus defense, two Goliaths in this game. What do you think? Do you like the defense taking the championship or the offense here?
It's hard to say. I mean, like you say, both these teams match up incredibly well with each other. And from the one side of it, you can look to Baylor's defense with Davion Mitchell, the best defensive player in the nation, and what this entire team does, not only on the defensive glass, but also offensively rebounding, and they can shoot the 3-ball. Meanwhile, on the other side, Gonzaga also very good defensively, but that offense is really the star. They're able to make some amazing passes and find Drew Timme wide open for an easy points in the paint. So it's really going to be tough for me to say which one you kind of lean towards, because in my mind, basically they kind of even out and stack up very nicely against each other.
And each of them were the two of the top teams in point differential throughout this season. Gonzaga averaged 91.6 points per game. Baylor, meanwhile, 82.8, so not a whole lot of spread there. And then on the defensive side, Baylor only allowed 65.3 points per game this season, while Gonzaga allowed 69.2. So while there are the favorites there, it isn't by a whole lot of spread there, Eric. Getting down to the wire here, I guess let's just go for it. Who do you have winning this game, Eric?
I'm going to stick with my pick from the start of March Madness. I have to go Gonzaga. I just think that their offense is slightly better. They have this adversity from this past game. They'll continue to ride that momentum and become the first undefeated team since 1976.
Now, Eric, to start off this tournament, my bracket, I also had Gonzaga winning, but just watching, how well they've done, I'm going to go with the old saying, defense wins championships, and I'm going to take Baylor. Now, my player to watch for this one will be Jared Butler, another guard there. You already mentioned Davion Mitchell, who takes care of the defense. Butler really carries Baylor's offense here. He averaged 17 points throughout the season, as well contributes, leading the team in steals. He was also an All-American second team. Eric, wrapping things up, who's your player to watch tonight?
Joel Ayayi, he came up big here against UCLA, a career high 22 points when a guy, their star, Corey Kispert, wasn't getting the looks that you maybe want to see. So he's a guy I think will have to step up no matter who is scoring buckets for Gonzaga. That fourth guy for Gonzaga will be huge.
Well, Eric, no matter who takes the championship in this one, it should be an exciting game, and it should be a close one, entertaining one to watch.